you're just watching other people, and then you start judging yourself and comparing yourself to these people, and you're like, oh, my work's not good enough, and it can slow you down a lot. You can't be doing that if you want to be like content with your work. So that was a big switch in me when I was like, okay, well, I just want to make stuff that I enjoy. Really, one of the biggest struggles that these big influencers have is that certain types of content works better to grow. You have to understand it's a highlight reel. Yeah. But once that's understood, then it can be more healthy to consume that kind of content.
I think that's the overarching point, I think, to all of this. Yeah, as you said, it's the intention behind it, and as long as you're doing what makes you feel good about it and what makes you happy, you're not doing it for someone else, then I think, or something else, then I think it's a lot more positive.
Flow like a fine wine, smelling like fine pine. Yeah, is this the end or just the beginning? Am I losing the winning? Is this reality or am I pretending?
There you go.
Right.
Welcome to
Julian's introducing this
episode
time.
4. Yeah, I'm in charge. You're on the other side.
Sorry.
Pipe down.
I'll be quiet.
Episode 4, where Santi is now the one being grilled.
Yeah, Nick's turned around, basically. It's on to me.
Guy and I are teaming up on him.
Yeah, it feels more like a quarterly review rather than a podcast at the moment. So how do you think everything's gone? No.
Yeah, so let's talk about your performance in the first quarter, please, Santi. You've been ambushed.
Yeah, no.
Live grilling.
So should we introduce ourselves, maybe?
What, each of us roll? Me first, or?
Yeah, let's go. Let's start with Santi.
Let's start with me. Okay. So I'm Santi. I am, I guess, officially on my business cards it says the social media manager of Teralon. But I guess my job mainly, I guess, is looking after our clients' social media accounts and also ours. And then like a large part of that is also, I guess, filling in other little bits, like doing a bit of photo, a bit of video editing as well.
Man of many talents.
Yeah, well.
Yep.
There you go.
Right. Shall we start with... I'm not used to doing this.
No, I'm not used to being on the side of the table either.
Yeah, big shoes to fill. Should we start with your history? Like, where do you come from? Where do you start? Where did your interest in photography and film come from?
So I actually started doing films when I was really young. I think the first things I ever made, because basically my dad's a screenwriter, so he's always been really, really into films. And when we were young, he'd always, I don't know, we basically watched so many films together. We had like a little cinema room and projector, and like basically kind of always watched films together. And that kind of got me interested in kind of like filmmaking kind of side of things, because he also had like a little VHS camera. So I would basically use that and make loads of little films with my friends. So a lot of them would just kind of like, we get a load of guns, bag of flour. We thought we were drug dealers.
Real guns?
No, little plastic or metal, I don't know, little toy guns. Okay. Put a load of sound effects and shoot it all up basically. And yeah, no, we had a lot of fun doing that. We called it Bad Boys in Action. There was two series, 1 and 2. Yeah. Oh no, we had a lot of fun doing that.
So is that a rip-off of the Bad Boys film?
Well, I didn't actually know about that film at the time, but yeah, so I really enjoyed, like, I basically got my friends together, like I'd film it, edit it, all of that, and I was probably about 10, 11 years old. And then I also I was really into skateboarding at the time as well. So I made loads of little skate videos, stuff like that. But the issue was I went to like boarding school at like 12, basically. So the opportunity, I don't know, to like make films and stuff kind of stopped.
Could you not make films at boarding school?
I guess you could, but I don't know why.
They didn't allow guns in boarding school.
Maybe that was it, Julian. I'm not.
Just drugs.
Just flour.
Just flour. No, I don't know. It just kind of stopped. Also, like skateboarding, I stopped skateboarding, so all that kind of side of things fizzled out for a while. I then really kind of picked it back up in university, I'd say. I just remember, I think the one thing that kind of really inspired me, I got a friend called Hamish Jackson. He went traveling, and I remember looking at his Instagram feed and going like, I don't know, that'd be a really cool thing to do.
Shout out Hamish.
Shout out to Hamish, who's actually an architect. He's actually quite a good photographer as well. He does it just for a little bit of fun, nothing too serious. But
he's not a professional like you now.
No, but he's got a lot of natural talent, I'd say. Yeah, I just remember seeing that, and I remember one time, I don't know, we went on a walk together and like taking a photo on my phone, and it was like a really nice setting. We went up on like a little hike kind of thing, nothing too crazy.
Sounds very romantic.
No, well, well, no, it was sunset. I remember taking a photo on my phone and just going like, oh, like that's not good enough. The thing is, obviously at the time, like I was very kind of like, oh yeah, it's the gear that's the problem, not me. Well, but a lot of it's obviously I've realised now is editing. But I remember that point, right, okay, I want to get myself a camera here. So that's kind of what I did at uni, essentially. And yeah, I mean, carrying on through that is just, I started playing around with cameras a lot and taking photos, and yeah.
It evolved from there.
Did you find that you had you regularly had that kind of frustration with like, oh, I see in my mind's eye what I want to take and it's not quite good enough, or the end result isn't what I imagined yet?
Yeah. Like thinking about it, like I always liked I always liked taking photos, but I never took it super seriously. I don't know, like on holiday, I kind of always liked looking back through my photos and stuff like that, and kind of like making little collections and stuff. Nothing, I wouldn't really post too much or anything like that. But I think it was just like at that moment when I was on that hike with Hamish that like it kind of really switched for me. Like I need to get a camera. So I got one for my birthday a bit later on, essentially. Yeah.
That is kind of a thing that many people in the industry say, that it's just because you get a better camera doesn't mean you become a better photographer or filmmaker. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Because obviously you do need tools for the trade. You need the right tools for the right job. Yeah, I mean, starting up, like I think when you get a phone to like your first DSLR, I think when you're smelling like on the lower end of stuff, what the impact of like the gear you get for the same amount of money on the higher end is a lot greater. So like a diminishing return on investment. Yeah. So I don't know, when you get that first DSLR, you're able to shoot RAW, able to edit with Lightroom. That's quite a big change. And yeah, that's where you start seeing like the most, I don't know, having fun, like messing around with the images and getting into all of that, really. Yeah, I don't know. And then, I don't know, I was just having fun, nothing too serious. And then kind of where it took off to like, okay, this, like I want to like take this like really seriously. I guess that's when I started finding like people on YouTube and stuff like that who, I don't know, were literally essentially getting kind of paid to travel, go around the world, all that kind of general thing that's very standard. But the thing is, I was at university doing chemical engineering, which is quite a change from what I'm doing now. Quite different. And I don't know, I think at one point I kind of it just didn't feel right for me. I think I'd always just taken a path of, I guess, what was expected of me and what everyone else was kind of doing. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. Let's keep going. Like, hey, I'm doing good grades. And at one point, I think it was just at university, it's like, where am I going with this? I remember looking like a moment where I was looking to my future and I was like, I'm not excited about that life. So I saw all these people doing this stuff and I was like, that's really cool. And it was all still related to kind of what I really enjoyed what I was doing when I was younger. So making all these films with my friend, but I didn't realize like you could really make a career out of making your own sort of films or anything like that. So that was what really appealed to me. And then also the traveling side, which I already had that spark from Hamish before. Yeah. It's kind of all into one that kind of inspired all this madness. So were you just at the beginning or halfway or towards the end of your degree when you decided that this was about
like beginning of second year, really.
And it's a 3-4 year course?
So officially I was on to do a 4-year course with the Masters, but I ended up finishing with the Bachelor's at 3 years because I was like, yeah, I'm getting out of here quick.
Well, you still got...
Classic. I know that feel.
Yeah.
At least you still got something.
Yeah, I got my degree. I mean,
What's that, Julian?
yeah, we got high school, university dropout here on the left.
High school dropout. Yeah, I can't even read.
Yeah, no, but I think something that was quite big that made me really focus on it, apart from like knowing that, like this path wasn't completely for me. So I had a lot of fun in first year. It was, the thing is, obviously I wasn't necessarily focusing on my degree, but like I was going out a lot. But I think at the end of first year, start of second year, I had a kind of a moment where a lot of things were kind of going bad in my life. And I basically went into a state of quite bad anxiety. So what happened was that I ended up kind of, I know we talked a bit with Freddie, he had a similar thing. At first I kind of like isolated myself a lot from people, and I'm someone who, when I like to get focused on something, like I'm going to go like fully for it generally. So I was like, I went all kind of like teetotal. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't doing anything like that. And at university, that's quite a hard thing to do when that is basically the culture, like drinking and going out. So it was about a 6-month period where I was just like focused on exercise and sorting myself out. Basically, I just kind of saw this vision. Like I was in a really bad place. Like initially I couldn't leave the house, anything like that. But yeah. But I just, because I couldn't really I didn't really connect with people as much anymore. I had this kind of thing to focus on to kind of, I don't know, I just watched YouTube tutorials and all that kind of stuff. And I spent a lot of time focusing on myself, which I don't know if that hadn't happened, I would have got into so intensely. So I think that's quite an interesting thing about that.
It's one interesting thing which is different between you and us, is that even though we're only separated by 6 years, you mentioned that there's a lot of, you felt influenced by the kind of, as you put it, like the standard, travel influencer, vlog, photo, Instagram, all of that. And when we were at the kind of age that you were, that was in its very early days. Sure, yeah, so we didn't, there was YouTube and there was stuff, but it wasn't, now it's become like a, almost a meme in itself. Yeah. People go and do Instagram travel vlogs and blogs and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you think, was that really important, I think, in terms of influencing you? Seeing that stuff out there? Yeah,
I just became, it was my escape really, because I knew that I still wanted to get this degree done because I knew I could do it. And I don't know, I just wanted to prove it to myself. That was the thing. Even though I really disliked it, I still wanted to just like get it over and done with. That's in the bag, forget it. So I still had like 2 years of pushing through that, and this whole other kind of lifestyle that's being portrayed and like doing all the photos, that was kind of my escape.
It's kind of like a light at the end of the tunnel. And
exactly.
Motivation to keep going, keep pushing on.
Yeah, that's exactly how I kind of saw it. I was like, just grind through these next couple of years, keep having fun, just doing your own thing, photo, video, and then after uni, you can just go traveling and smash it, basically. But the other thing that it wasn't just that. So along with the kind of Instagram and photo, video stuff, the other thing that caught my interest on YouTube was the dropshipping stuff, and I became, these are the two things basically in uni that I just became totally obsessed with.
Can you explain what dropshipping is for people who might not know?
I can give a little summary.
Go on then.
So basically dropshipping is the way I do it is you build an e-commerce store, usually it's on Shopify, which easily e-commerce store to build on. And someone will place an order with you, but you won't hold any inventory. So they'll place an order with you, and then your supplier will directly ship to them. Yeah.
So you have a website, people order from you, and you essentially
You're a middleman.
Place the order so that whoever is originally selling it just delivers straight to your customer.
So secret to all good business is being a good middleman.
Yeah. So basically, it's a very low-cost business to start up, because all you have to do is you have to focus on the marketing of it and the product cost. But you only have to pay for the product once your customer has paid you first. So it's a very low-cost business to start up.
So what's the real challenge of dropshipping then? Where does the interest lie in keeping you challenged?
What's the real challenge of dropshipping? I mean, there's many challenges. It's like working out why a customer wants to buy a product. A lot of it is like the emotion behind why someone buys. I mean, the thing is, when someone says dropshipping, it's like a lot of people, they start doing everything for a business. So you do the marketing, you do the copy, you do the building the website, you source the products. So again, you have to be a bit of jack of all trades to do it. But like the main, I think Facebook ads is probably the kind of most technical thing you have to master to do it. But saying that, I'm not saying, the thing is, I'm saying like I started dropshipping, like I failed multiple stores. Especially, that's the thing. It's like, I don't know, I made like this, the first one I made was quite funny. It was like this panda one, because I just thought, I don't know, people might like pandas. I know it sounds stupid at the time.
Like, presumably like stuffed pandas.
I don't know. It was just like iPhone cases.
Real pandas.
Yeah.
Straight from China.
iPhone cases. I don't know. I was just testing stuff.
Everything pandas, like everything to do with pandas.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because
the videos I'd watched, they'd say find stuff that people are passionate about, and then you can kind of find products along those lines. And I thought people really like pandas, so I don't know. It was just a really, I don't know. It's what, and I sold one iPhone case from an Instagram shout out. So that, I mean, I probably lost a few hundred.
That's a success.
The point is, it's a start.
Six-figure lifestyle.
Oh yeah, smashing it.
How much do you sell the case for?
I can't remember. It was probably like €15 or something, or $15. But I don't know. That was the first kind of making any sort of money online. But yeah, I know when I talked about it to people were very like confused. I think throughout my whole time at university, because I had my whole anxiety phase, and people were like, okay, what's happened to Santi here? Has he gone a bit off the rails here? Like, what's happened to him?
Trying to sell panda.
Yeah.
Did you become known as like the panda?
I'm
man.
the panda man.
I don't know. But I know that people definitely were a bit like, yeah, it's a bit, I don't know, a bit strange what he's doing. And
well, I suppose from their point of view, in your first year, you're there, you're having fun with everyone else. You're living the uni life to the fullest.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you disappear, and for a while, and then you come back and you're like, hey, do you want to buy something panda related?
Yeah, well, I wasn't asking people to buy stuff panda related. I was kind of like, I don't know. The thing is I was trying to get, because I was so excited about the idea of it. I thought other people would be, but other people were just like, what are you doing? Like, I don't really.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like, and that's fair enough. And that's something like I've kind of started to accept, that not everyone's going to see things in the same way you're going to see them. So you just have to kind of accept that and not like be too pushy. If someone doesn't accept what you're doing, just be like, okay, cool, that's fine.
I think, a key thing that definitely has become apparent to me, and probably to you as well, is that when you're starting your own thing or in business or whatever, then not everyone's going to have the same vision as you.
No,
they're not going to see
not.
the opportunity that you see. And sometimes they might be right, but if you believe that you're right, then you've got to go for it.
100%. Yeah. And it was the same, I think, even with my like photography and stuff, people still like a bit like, why has he become so obsessed with it? And like, I was starting to make like a few vlogs and I don't know. The thing is, I was just convinced at that point that like, yeah, this was just the way to go. But yeah, I don't know. Like I just loved doing it, and I just was so obsessed with it that I just carried on doing it. Essentially, and it was, as I said, it was still that kind of light at the end of the tunnel, and that's what I enjoyed doing.
Yeah. Interestingly, seeing as we're on the dropshipping thing, I guess might bring in. So obviously, I guess we'll go over how you joined Teralon as well.
Okay.
In short, you started kind of doing some work experience stuff with us.
Yeah.
Well, not work experience, but interning type stuff. But we were also at the same time looking to hire someone to do the social media manager role and a few other things. But the thing that, for me, when we got chatting about that really made me think like Santi's like pretty switched on, the kind of guy that we want on the team, was when you were speaking about the drop shipping and how you'd experimented with that and how it interested you. Because I felt that even, we're not a drop shipping company, but obviously there's a lot of transferable skills
like
there.
the Facebook ads and stuff like that.
There's Facebook ads, and it also just in general, even if we weren't interested in Facebook ads themselves, it's the desire to learn a system and
work out like the marketing strategy.
Work out how to win at that system. I thought was a useful skill. It's the kind of thing that we needed for the company. So so drop shipping opens many doors, people. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Is like I don't know. I've made another store after that, but like I didn't really put any money towards it. But then what I did make, I made like a Depop account, basically drop shipping, which I don't think technically is allowed by their rules, but I didn't know that at the time because I just I don't know what actually happened was my girlfriend at the time was scrolling through Depop and she was seeing like all these coats, and I was like, they were just all there, and I was just like, right, okay, there's got to be something going on. I was just like, let's have a look on AliExpress, which is where you source your products, and I found it, and I was like, right, here we go. Smashed it up on Depop. Obviously,
and Depop is supposed to be for secondhand stuff, right?
Well, yeah, I guess it's just
to sell secondhand clothes or or to like declutter your.
It was clothes, but I don't know. Basically, then it's free marketing. Didn't have to pay anything on ads, and I made quite a bit of money off that.
Off your girlfriend's back.
Well, it was kind of off her. She found the idea for me technically, but it was my idea. I don't know. But that was really the first time when I saw it, and I was like, okay, this is actually something you can make a decent amount of money on. And using that money, and then also because I wasn't going out, I managed to save quite a decent amount, and I bought myself, maybe it's like, this is about third year now, I bought myself like the Sony A6500, 16mm 1.4, 1825. That was a bit later actually. Oh, okay, I think it was a 16mm 1.4 and a 30mm 1.4. So that's like quite a bit of an investment for and a drone as well. I bought the DJI Spark. So I bought it all in one go because I was like, right, like here we go, let's
go on
balling.
Full on traveler kit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hashtag influencer.
Yeah, we'll say that.
Vietnam wasn't ready.
No. So kind of saving up, making all this money and saving up allowed me to kind of, I mean, it wasn't huge amounts, but it was enough to like invest a bit into myself with this kit, which really, I don't know, my first camera was the 100D Canon, and I just had the 18-55 and the 50mm 1.8. So that's
nifty 50.
Nifty 50. It's a good starting setup. But moving on to that, and was quite fun. I don't know. I really liked the Sony compared to the Canon. The Canon it's a great like beginner's camera to like learn everything, but it's very simple. Whereas the Sony, I feel like there's a lot more you can kind of do with it. And the Canon's like a 200 quid camera. The Sony is like $1,000. So yeah, like that was really fun shooting in 4K and all of that.
Yeah. So you had this kit then, and you started making more stuff. Were you like looking at things that other people were making and that you'd seen, and you were like, I'm gonna go out there and try and make something like this, like I feel inspired by this to make that?
Yeah, there was kind of the people I kind of was really inspired by at the time. There was this guy called Thomas Alex Norman, and he did a lot of kind of the general travel, like Bali, all these kind of vlogs. But what I really liked, it wasn't super, I don't know, like Sam Calder kind of was one of the first things to see, which a lot of people see, and you know, it's very cool transition and stuff. But this guy would make like 30-minute vlogs, and I'd watch the whole thing, and he'd create a story, and I was just really sucked in by all of that. And I just really, I don't know, being able to tell a whole story like that was really amazing. And then this other guy, Zack Kravits, who, he wasn't a travel vlogger, but he kind of filmed a lot just to like home, and his vlogs were, the way to like I describe it, almost felt like kind of watching a Netflix film, but it was just like normal films about his life. And at the time, like the beginning, he was like a PT trainer, but then also he became getting paid for being a videographer and stuff like that. So seeing his growth through that, and also the way he told his stories, even though not necessarily like much was going on, they were very raw vlogs, but that really inspired me. So I kind of wanted to like have a mix between all these kind of videos of having a very authentic feeling of telling a true story, not just trying to show highlights, and then kind of mixed in with this like cool travel style and all of that. That's kind of what I really wanted to make.
So when you were watching all these videos when you're still at university, it sounds like they were all kind of vlogs or they're not ads and commercials, and they're not like corporate videos and that kind of stuff.
No.
And when I watch those and I think, well, to be successful at that or to be able to earn a living with that, it's like wanting to be a rock star or an actor in Hollywood movies or whatever. It seems like it's quite a niche or a difficult path, and there are a few who would succeed. How did you put what you were seeing in all these lifestyle type videos and vlogs, how did you put that together with a profession? Did you think, right, I want photography and video to be a potential career, and I want to do that by filming vlogs? Or did you think of it a different way?
I guess the way I thought about it at the time, the thing is my mindset's changed quite a lot since then. But I don't know, what I used to do was kind of really analyze all these pages. Like I'd literally go to like all these people that had made it essentially, and I'd go all the way down to their bottom video and try and see their progress and try and work out what kind of videos are the ones that push them forward. And I was just constantly trying to work out why do these people grow? Why do others not? And so that kind of started getting me into really like thinking about what are the content types that work, what kind of strategy these people are using. But
you still wanted to stick with those type of videos.
The thing is like I also was really inspired. Another guy I was inspired by quite a range of people as well, because I think there's these like American photographers from like the Pacific Northwest, especially this guy called like Michael Flugstad. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He did like a lot of lifestyle photography, and his thing was very different. It was very chilled out, and he did a lot of freelance work with outdoor companies, brands like that, and that kind of really piqued my interest for that kind of style. So I was definitely kind of thinking like freelancing or those kind of jobs was definitely, the problem is, and this is something that I've worked out, is that, and something I'm definitely working on as I'm moving forward, is that I like to do a lot of different things really well, and I didn't focus in on specific things enough. I was trying to do too many things at once. And I was getting like a decent amount of success in little bits, but I wasn't like pushing forward very like a lot in anything, if that makes sense, because I like doing so many things.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes you, as you say, a jack of all trades and a master of none. But
oftentimes better than a master of one is the second half of that.
yeah, but the thing is, it's like what that has allowed me to do is learn lots of skills in different areas. And then as I start, and it's also allowed me to taste a lot of things and to really understand what I like about certain things, what I don't like.
Yeah, I think that's something that everyone does and is almost a necessity when you're starting out. You really want to try lots of different things, because otherwise how are you going to know that you want to do one thing over another?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I certainly did a bit of everything, or, you know, I think it's the same for Guy.
Yeah.
But Guy started mostly with sports, but yeah, you got to
Try
things.
lots of things. Yeah. So I was also inspired by all these outdoor adventure photographers, and getting into that world. And there's like my Andrew T. Kearns, he's kind of part of that, and he did like a lot of vlogging as well. But his vlogs were all, I mean, I think he did a lot of daily vlogs actually, of just him shooting lifestyle photography with models and clients. So there's a wide spread, as you can see, of all these different kind of things.
Essentially, you saw these people doing vlogs and doing, I guess, behind the scenes stuff of whatever they were doing, and but they also had work that they were doing on the side, or maybe it was their main thing and their vlogs were on the side.
Yeah.
With brands and portrait photography or what have you. And you
come back to your question.
and you kind of decided, right, that's kind of what I want to do.
Yeah. So also I was looking into ways to kind of try and get a few jobs. So I remember, the thing is, this is something about me. I get really obsessed by things very quickly, and then I become. The other thing I was like really into was poker. But that was actually before I went to uni. Like I got really into poker and I spent all my time playing poker.
I thought you were going to say I spent all my money playing poker.
No, I actually made a fair bit of money playing poker. But again, it wasn't like...
Was this online or was it with you?
A lot online. Online. I mean, again, it wasn't... I mean, in terms of the amount of time I spent on it and the amount of money I made was, I wasn't making much for that. But like, I just love playing the game and working it out and all the little bits about that. But back to my point, poker. So like, I did a bit of like photography for the Poker Society. I just like did it for free and just kind of starting up a bit like that. And then, I mean, there was a bit of a drama situation with that. I don't know.
Is this something for now, or is it something for the? In the next podcast,
I'm kind of slating them a bit. No,
one of those.
Basically, like there was this one thing, like there was this whole drama where I said we were having like this Christmas dinner or whatever, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll do photos fine, but like, can I get a free ticket? Because that's fair, no. But the problem, so we did this like way in advance. But when I was on holiday, my camera had a bit of water damage, and like I sent it off to John Lewis. I'm going to slate John Lewis here, and it basically took them ages to get it back to me. And by the time like it got back, it was after I was meant to do this photo event or whatever.
Shame on you, John Lewis.
I know, but and there was this whole stress, and I was like, I told them like a week or something before, like
the camera's still not back.
My camera's still not back. I don't know what's going on. And then, but they let me borrow someone else's, but I still took photos. But they got like really annoyed at me because they thought I tried to scam them
for a free ticket.
Yeah, I wasn't that bothered. Like I didn't mind. I'd happily go to the event, but like it was just a bit of food, and the ticket's 20 quid. But yeah.
When you're a student, £20 is a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, my main motivation for it was just, get some experience doing something, working for some sort of client, I guess. But
I think that's fairly typical of the kind of things that when you're just starting out, like things like that go wrong, and they're actually quite small things in the grand scheme of production, but you can easily find yourself getting a little bit overwhelmed by stuff quite quickly when you're not entirely sure how to manage a client relationship or deal with gear problems and stuff. And
Yeah,
it's an important learning curve, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that's something now I just look back and laugh on. But it's
very, very stressful experience.
Yeah, I got a bit controversial, but no. Well, we made friends afterwards, and like it was all cool. But there was a little bit of drama towards that. Yeah, but in terms of like trying to find more jobs, well, after that, like so the first kind of vlogs I was really making was a couple of holiday ones. But I then went for my birthday with my girlfriend at the time, Lucy. she took me to the Lake District, and that was kind of, we did a couple of hikes up there, and that was kind of what really got me into like hiking, the first kind of bits, and I just remember absolutely loving it and being blown away by the place. So that's kind of the start of kind of how outdoor photography really piqued my interest compared to other styles.
Yeah, I remember like when you first got in touch with us, I said, right, well, photography's a thing for you, but you have to experiment and try lots of different things when you're starting out. But there's something to be said about picking a niche and targeting that and hitting that and becoming the go-to person for that market or for that industry. So I remember asking you what else are you interested in, and hiking and outdoors and all of that was what you came back with.
Yeah, that's, I mean, if I was gonna pick a dream kind of shooting style or thing, that would definitely be what I would choose over most things. Yeah, because I absolutely love it. But in terms of kind of getting like looking more to thinking about this as a career, I then did an opportunity. Well, my cousin was getting married in Seville, so that's my Spanish side of the family, and they saw my vlogs and they were kind of like, "Oh, would you kind of be interested?" I can't remember how it fully came about, but I remember she was getting married and I was like thinking, "Yeah, I really want to do this wedding film because it's just more experience of doing something." So then I bought myself a gimbal and an 18-105 lens. That's what happened. And then so I also shot that wedding, which was also a really good experience at getting just more under your belt, really. And that was really a lot of fun to film.
Weddings are very difficult to shoot.
Yeah.
Shoot well. It's a very difficult event experience.
Yeah,
shooting.
Definitely.
A lot of pressure.
It throws you in the deep end.
Big day for those getting married.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it though. I think a big part of that was you're filming your own family, so it's also very easy to get shots of people because people want to, like, I don't know.
Yeah, and you know them. It's not like it's a group of strangers that. Yeah. That's something I used to really struggle with when we were filming events, and still do to a certain extent now, is trying to rally groups of people and get them to perform in front of the camera when they're not used to doing that, and you have no idea who these people are. Yeah,
and you just have to point a camera in the face and hope they do.
Yeah,
not quite like that.
Really good people skills.
Yeah, but yeah, I just remember like completely buzzing off filming that and just loving it. I don't know. It was that was kind of my first real client shoot, even though I wasn't paid for it or anything like that. But again, it's like all these different areas. Like I still wanted to do my traveling. I still wanted to do it, but I wasn't like honing in on anything in particular. Yeah, and I guess the next kind of step was traveling itself. Like I graduated. I then worked in a coffee shop in up north. So I was staying with my girlfriend at the time. I was living with her, just saving loads of money to kind of go traveling. So I still had a bit of like money saved up, I guess, from like the drop shipping thing, and then also I actually started a new website after that because Depop banned my Depop account eventually.
They found you.
Cottoned on.
Which was a really sad moment. But I was like, okay, fair enough. Like I made a bit of money and.
What did they say? Did they say you're violating our terms and conditions?
They gave me a couple of warnings, and then eventually, they're like, game over.
Right.
I know I'm poorly behaved, but then like that was it. You know, I there's so many like different pieces to my story that to put it all together. But like,
so the Depop account got banned.
Yeah, and then
I have a special button for this.
Go on. Oh wow.
Julian, you've been waiting for so long to
No,
use
I have
one of those.
not. I promise you. I just thought of it.
No, very good.
Yep.
Depop got
That's
banned,
good.
but the biggest like shock was like, okay, I was making like a decent amount of money off this, basically for not doing very much, and then suddenly that just goes away, and you're like, okay, there's something like missing here. Like you kind of get addicted to that feeling of just like making money from anywhere,
from breaking the rules.
Not breaking the rules, but just like from anywhere. Basically, they call it passive income, but it's not so passive because you still have to like be doing stuff. But passive-ish. Yeah, I don't know. Like I remember it was specifically on Christmas Day. Like I made like 300 or 400 quid just in one day, and I was literally just sitting there with my family, and I was like, this is unreal.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I started a new store, and that is where I really kind of went a lot deeper into product research to understand what kind of products will sell, and kind of seeing what other stores really sold and understanding how it really worked. And I sold quite a bit with that, but I wasn't profitable. Like I probably broke even in total with that, but it taught me a huge amount about how to use Facebook ads and copywriting, all the rest of it. The problem is like also I was saving up to go traveling, so there was this hard kind of balance, and especially Lucy at the time telling me like, can you please not lose all your money, please? Like testing all these products, because that's the big thing, is like you have to be able to lose money before you make money with these things. You have to test what works. I got very close. Things I'm not going to go too deep in how Facebook ads work, but basically as Facebook collects more and more data, you understands who your potential customer is more, and then you keep on pushing with that data until it eventually becomes profitable. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I got to the point where I was breaking even, making quite an okay amount in revenue, but like the amount of money I was spending was starting to get a little bit risky. But like I had the money, but like if I wanted to go traveling, I couldn't really justify spending it if I was going to go and save up and try and do it. The thing is realistically, if I was single, I'd have probably done it. That's the truth, but it wasn't just my own. I had responsibility for a girlfriend at the time.
Yeah, you can't send her off to go traveling on her. Well, you could, but
yeah, you don't want to have to go. You're the one who has to turn around and say, I can't pay for our flights and everything because
exactly
I gambled and I lost.
Yeah, and it was probably the most sensible decision at the time for the situation. But so I had to put it on pause. That was the thing, and then went traveling around the world. And obviously we were saying like vlogs, that was kind of like, okay, this is what I'm going to do now. But what I probably struggled with most was, I don't think I was fully prepared at the time for the real amount of work that you were going to have to put in to make it really happen with it. And I basically don't think my mindset was right.
You mean to make these great vlogs and actually turn it into a
career,
a proper money earning profession, career type thing?
Yeah. If I really put it down to it, I don't think I fully had belief in myself, like deep down. At the time, I didn't think I was good enough because I felt, because the problem is, I think when you're like, you start to consume all this content, and it can actually hinder you quite a bit, because that's all you're doing. You're just watching other people, and then you start judging yourself and comparing yourself to these people, and you're like, oh, my work's not good enough, and it can slow you down a lot, which is something I slowly learned about, basically. Yeah, it's
very easy when there's so much other content out there, especially these days, that you just see other people making stuff and it looks great, and maybe your stuff is also really good, but they've got 100,000 likes and million followers or whatever, and it can start to really get in your head. You start to think, why am I not good enough? Why is what I'm making not good enough? Is there some trick that I'm missing? Something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that was a process that I kind of got a lot better throughout my traveling to get out of. Because talking about my like anxiety and stuff, like I still wasn't 100% like out of it, because I think it was also amplified by the fact that I really didn't want to be at uni. And so like when I got out of there, like I got a bit of breathing room, but I still had a lot of stuff to work out throughout my journey. And traveling was definitely 100% the best thing for me at the time. It allowed me to give myself like a big breather. And going back to why didn't I fully go for it with these vlogs and stuff, really thinking about it as well, one of the biggest things is like I was focusing more on sorting my own head out and my mental health rather than going for it with these vlogs, because it was definitely affecting my mental health. So that's why I made sure I took breaks and stuff. And that's the thing with social media, it can definitely have a big impact on your mental health if you're not ready for it. And that's why you see a lot of these big YouTubers go down very quickly, or people going down with anxiety, because it's a lot of pressure at the end of the day, and if you're not ready for it. Yeah,
certainly from my perspective, it looks like it often seems like people who are very successful, and they portray an image of success on YouTube and Instagram and whatever it is. That success certainly isn't fake. These people make real money and they make great content and they have real followers for the most part. But I think for some people, especially when they're young, it can come at a cost, or when things go wrong, then they're not particularly well equipped to deal with it. And I think the way that you approached it is to sort maybe the foundation out first before jumping headfirst into what can be a very pressurized industry.
Well, that's the thing. It's like when I went to New Zealand, I basically vlogged every day because I was like, right, okay, yeah, let's go. And as I say, like I wasn't fully. I mean, I loved New Zealand, amazing place, but I definitely felt like a pressure while vlogging, and also when doing it with someone else who, with Lucy, like she also didn't fully understand what I was doing, but she was supportive. But also she wasn't necessarily super comfortable on camera all the time, and she wanted to enjoy the experience, and it's like balancing that. So there was a lot of factors that I was trying to like handle all at once. But I actually remember specifically this Michael, the Michael Flugstad guy. I remember that I like DM'd him on Instagram about something and somehow got into a little bit of a chat with him. And I remember I think I was saying I was making content to try and like impress people almost. Like that was one of the, because obviously on social media you want to grow, all that kind of thing. And to grow, you have to impress people. And he was basically like, yeah, you exactly what you're saying. Like you can't be doing that if you want to be like content with your work. So that was a big switch in me where I was like, okay, well, I just want to make stuff that I enjoy. And that's what I started really focusing on after that, was having fun with my photos and creating work that I really loved making. Yeah.
So there's two interesting points that are raised from that. The first is if you're in a moment and you're filming it or taking photos of it, do you actually enjoy the moment, or are you putting a barrier between yourself and your surroundings, which is the camera? And the second is talking about when you create something, if you know that you're going to put it up on social media, does that influence what you're going to make? Because you might change things slightly because you know that something over something else will
be more popular,
more popular, or get more likes and that kind of stuff. Was that something that was in your mind at that time? And
yeah, 100%. What was the first point again?
Being in the moment and experiencing and being present.
'Cause there's two parts to that.
Versus
being in the moment, and I think, yeah, that's the thing. It's like when I learned later on that I loved taking photos and being in the moment, but it was when I started finding the content that I like to make and that was for me. And that's when I got the biggest buzz out of all. And then making stuff so it's popular on social media, I think that's probably one of the biggest struggles that these big influencers have, is that certain types of content works better to grow more than others. And realistically, if you want it to be your job and that's your only source of income, you got a lot of pressure to make that happen, and that's what you got to keep doing. And
creatively backed into a corner almost,
because Instagram is trialing taking away likes.
Yeah,
and
they've done it a lot of places.
Yeah. So there's been a mixed response. Some have said that it's not good because it takes away, evidence of their hard work, or of that people appreciate their hard work, and others say it's very freeing because all of a sudden they're not chasing the likes, they're creating content that they want to create, and they're not thinking how many likes is this going to get.
It's an interesting one because I think the main thing is just like the anxiety that social media can create when people compare themselves, and those numbers do allow for that. And then the other part, as you say, I think Gary Vee, he talked about it, and his reason he thinks is that Instagram's main what they want is people to stay on the platform.
Yeah.
And by taking away likes, people should enjoy creating content that they like more, and hence post that and then enjoy the process of using social media more, which I think, makes a lot of sense, really. I mean, the other thing is, like, they say that they're doing it because they want people to use Instagram ads more than people to have influencers. But the other thing is influencers. I think to my knowledge, the users still have all the data of how many likes you get. So I don't know if that's true. If you still personally know how many likes a photo is getting, because I haven't used it because you
can still like a photo.
Yeah, and you can see who, like, a couple of
but
people.
But it just isn't displayed to other people, just to yourself.
But if you've got like Business Manager or whatever, I think you might be able to see it still in the analytics. Like, so many people have liked your photo,
right.
Which I know to get on the Explore page and stuff, you still have to. So I think that there will still always be an element of trying to gear your content towards getting those viral, popular posts. So it's probably a good thing, I guess, in the most part. But I think that's how I'd probably go with it. It's probably a good thing because it stops people comparing themselves.
Yeah.
And just like trying to copy other people's posts, just engineering that way, and hopefully it will allow for more originality.
Because there's a lot of Instagram all looks kind of the same in certain spheres and certain spaces. Yeah,
you said it'll stop people trying to copy other people's posts.
Yeah,
it does seem like a lot of Instagram is the same thing over and over again.
Shout out Insta Repeat. Make montages of all the same shots by different people. Very, very funny.
If you don't know about Insta Repeat, have a search for it. It's quite funny.
Yeah, but I know that through this whole process, it's like I wanted to find the content that I like to make, and that was this whole traveling thing for me. That's kind of what journey I went on. So, as I said before, I was watching all these YouTubers and started comparing myself a lot to them, and Instagrammers, all the rest of it. And then I definitely went through like a phase where I was just like, right, stop. Like I think it was. I also so after New Zealand, so I did 2 months in New Zealand, did the whole van life thing, loved it. But went to Australia next for 2 weeks, and I didn't film a single thing, and that was a very conscious choice. I was like, let's take a breather from this vlogging. Like, I don't want to put pressure. You can be more in the moment, relax. And I just I think I did a bit of editing, but I chilled out from it.
So how did that compare? Did you feel like you were more present in the moment? Because it sounded like from your response earlier, you said that you were in New Zealand and you were vlogging and you were creating this content, but you kind of got a buzz from discovering the type of content that you liked making, and it actually, well, it sounds like if anything, it enhanced your experience because you were also learning and
for sure,
and finding your style and all that. So how did Australia compare to that when you stopped?
It just allowed for a bit. I still took photos because the thing is with video, or especially vlogging, or like daily vlogging, as I was trying to kind of do in New Zealand, was that you got to be constantly thinking of like, how is the story matching up together? So you're never fully in that moment. Well, it's just like, it's different. And it was just a bit of a switch off. It allowed me just to like relax, kind of take a step back, try and be self-aware. What was making me feel anxious? What was stressing me out? And I don't know, it was just a nice little breather, really. And then what was next? Philippines, and I started. So the thing is I'm still editing my New Zealand videos now, but again, like I didn't want to put myself under too much pressure, and also I was with my girlfriend there, so like I can't just, we're out going out all day. Like if I was going to edit these videos, I would basically have to ignore her and just sit in the corner and edit, which...
Don't do that. You'll get in trouble.
You get in trouble. Yeah.
Are you speaking from experience, guy?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, no, like that's the thing. It's like, if you want to do something as like ambitious as that, I mean, doing that with a girlfriend is like fair play. I don't know how.
Yeah, you kind of have to have her on board as well, because if...
I think that's basically what you have to have. You have to have someone who's just fully on board with what you're doing, fully gets it, and wants to be a part of it. And it's not like I'm resenting Lucy for any of that, because that's not fair. And to be honest, I'm still like quite happy, because everything's a learning curve, and it's not like I'm... Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, it does show. It does show that you see all these people on YouTube having these vlogging careers, and all that's great. And from your point of view, just watching on YouTube, it looks fantastic, and you see and you feel like you have a glimpse into their lives. But actually, behind the scenes, for them, they may be battling with these same issues, like, when is it appropriate to get the camera out? Am I really experiencing this moment? Am I really living a real life, or am I just doing everything for the gram or YouTube? And having a almost fake or staged life.
It's just highlights. It's not fake necessarily. Well, maybe some people it is, but you have to understand it's a highlight reel.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people will struggle with not understanding that. But once that's understood, then it can be more healthy to consume that kind of content. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a big problem I have with influencer marketing, because if you think about it, it's essentially an advertising platform, because these influencers have an audience, and that's very valuable to people who want to promote products. And that's fine. It's just another way to get ads in front of eyeballs. But it's the problem I have with it is the part of it where it's almost kind of contrived, and they're not very...
saying 100% authentic.
Yeah, I mean, it's not readily apparent to those who aren't switched
living
on.
That lifestyle. Well, it's not switched on. It's just like you're not exposed to the reality of the lifestyle.
It's not necessarily obvious that these are just highlight reels, and they don't necessarily portray them as highlight reels. I mean, a lot of them now more and more do say, remember, these are only parts of my life. These are only the highs or the lows. But there is so much more to life than just what I'm showing you on YouTube or on Instagram.
Yeah, and hopefully as social media progresses, we're still so early in the days of social media. People are only really working out what it really means and where it's going to go. And like a lot of these stars, you could say, have come up very quickly. And people are still trying to learn how to handle that fame, or
well, it's for them, but also for
on how to
the people watching it,
how they should portray their lives.
You know, the kids growing up now, they think this is just real life, as in, I read an article a couple months ago where they were saying that a YouTuber is now one of the top 10
careers
that kids say they want to have when they grow up. You know, it used to be policeman, astronaut, and firefighters, and that kind of stuff, and now YouTuber or influencer is now up there with those. Yeah,
I think that makes that's completely true. Yeah, going off that, so I remember, as I said, you know, at university, it was my light at the end of the tunnel. This whole kind of traveling kind of lifestyle. And I remember thinking, especially my anxiety and whatever, like, once I get there, I'm just going to be happy and it's going to be sweet. And it became very obvious very quickly that that wasn't the case. Like, I went there, like, yeah, it was nice, but what it really taught me was it was my mindset and my thinking that was the problem, not my environment. Or basically, it's my fault and I need to sort it out. And that's why it was one of the things that, you know, traveling was really good for, because it forced me to kind of stop making excuses.
Yeah, because it's like, I'm at uni, I'm bridled by being in this environment, which is not particularly creative, or it's, you know, it's
I just didn't
not like going abroad and everything looks great. And then all of a sudden you're abroad and you're in the, well, let's say perfect environment to make these vlogs and this content, but you realize, it's actually not that simple. It doesn't automatically make you happy.
Yeah. And also it's like the goalposts have now changed. Like, now I'm here doing this, but I now want 1 million views on every video and so on and so forth.
Yeah, a big part of this as well was, as I said at uni, like, I didn't feel like I connected with people as much because I was very on an individual, I don't know, like, no one really understood my mindset or why I wanted to do the things I was doing and stuff like that. And even throughout traveling, like, I felt very alone in this journey that I was kind of trying to take on. That was definitely something I was like trying to struggle, because I didn't know how to kind of like really, well, again, I think that's partly having a girlfriend at the time as well. It's like, it's a lot harder to try when you're traveling with someone, like, to go and meet random people. And that's probably why traveling alone is one of the best things, not one of the best things to do, but like, it's a really good experience to try and like meet other people who are doing similar stuff to you. And I know, like, I would have probably used Instagram a lot more to try and connect with similar creators in the area and try and find people doing the same thing as me, because I think that's really important in this journey. And like, it's a big change, like when coming here with you guys, like, I talk to you about this kind of stuff and you don't give me like a blank look like, what the hell are you talking about? That's a massive change, where poor Lucy probably had to listen to me talk about it the whole time. And big up her for dealing with that.
Be like, I'm going to take photos and I'm going to meet strangers on the internet through Instagram.
It's also like
take photos with them. It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, it's also like all my ideas that had come up, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to do a podcast and this stuff, and she's like, yeah, I don't get it.
Right.
And that's and that's fair enough, but I think that's also really important to try and meet like-minded people, really.
So thinking about going from there in the traveling and that stage of things for you to kind of where you are now, which is working with us here at Teralon, we'll get to kind of how that compares, I guess,
sure, in
terms of how it feels, but how do you want to kind of briefly summarize how your mindset went from, or how things went from vlogging and stuff to returning from traveling? 100%. And then
so it was like, as I went through, I kind of really found like the kind of content more and more. It was like the adventure, outdoor photography, video, and I just realized that I just love being on mountains. That was the next thing. It's just being up there at walking up at 3 a.m. or whatever in the dark, going on top of a mountain, sun coming up. It's just complete euphoria. It's unreal. That was something I became addicted to quickly. So yeah, I then just started really, and the next part was just like when I was posting on Instagram, I slowly really didn't care at all about likes or anything like that. And I was posting
mountains.
Well, yeah, mountains, but like my stories. And I was when I looked at my feed, I was starting to become more proud at my work. And I'd look at my feed, I'd be like, okay, I like this. I don't really care if anyone else does. And that was a massive step forward for just enjoying the process and being comfortable with that. Moving on from that though is, so like towards the end of traveling, I guess, because like I kind of accepted that, at this point in my life, I'm not going to become a travel influencer, like because the content I like to make was probably more, especially on like the video style. Well, who knows? My videos could end up getting 1 million views once they're edited and out, but but it was. I don't think I was making necessarily like content for other people. It was very much for myself, and
so like you'd made the healthy choice, but it was also one that perhaps
well, who knows?
Curtailed the possibility, but yeah, you weren't just chasing that growth.
I definitely wasn't. No, and that's kind of how I still want to continue it. But the difference is like now, if I was going to continue going on from that, is that I would now understand that if I was going to make content that was specifically geared towards trying to get likes or trying to get to that explore page or anything like that, is that I understand that that doesn't necessarily make it a better photo. It's just going to be more popular on Instagram because of the certain thing, because what defines what a good photo is. At the end of the day, it's all what it personally means to you and like the emotion behind that. The thing is, it's like a photo in a crazy landscape with someone standing in it. Or I don't know, like general Instagram photos, the reason why they work most of the time is because a lot of people can relate to it quickly. But just because a lot of people like it, does that make it a good photo? Or what happens if a photo or a video impacts a smaller group of people, but much more deeply? That doesn't show on Instagram. So that's the kind of link that I kind of worked out, and I started understanding that, and the kind of because during this whole time I'm still looking at other people's content and trying to work out all this kind of stuff, and it became more apparent that that's true. So, for example, like tutorial videos, all that sort of trending topics, and I allowed myself to separate from that. But anyway, carrying on through traveling, towards the end, I remember that like I started just. I was just starting. I was ready to get back home and start actually doing stuff because my idea was, okay, I was listening to a lot of podcasts on like photographers and people on how they made their career, basically freelancing or anything like that. I think this guy called Finn Beales, I think his name was, and I was really inspired by his work and what he'd managed to do, which was very like story related photography, and like it was kind of like, it's not that his stuff wasn't like super outdoor adventure, but I just really was inspired by his story of how he was able to make a career through all of that. And then I was kind of just ready to get back and start making my life, something out of my life. I felt like I'd not had enough, but I was ready to get back home, basically. And the other idea I had was, because I understood kind of like Facebook ads from dropshipping, I thought there was a good way that you could mix the two somehow, whether that was being able to like create ads for people and then also make the content for them. Sorry, like run the ads and make the content. Also using the ads to try and like get my own clients, and kind of running that service. So I just wanted to, I was going to like test and experiment. I just wanted to start doing, like, I felt like, I was having fun traveling, but like I wanted to start doing, experimenting and to get on with it, basically.
So you while you were away traveling, you were kind of thinking, okay, well, I want to get back home. What do I do when I get back? And you took your photography, your drop shipping, and you're like, how can I blend the two?
Kind of, it's just like the marketing side. There was another side to it, actually, another idea, because obviously, like, at this point, I'm like, okay, what the hell am I going to do for a career? And the other part of it was that I also felt like I really sorted my own head out and started to because one of the biggest things I learned through going through this journey with anxiety is that first of all, I still think it's one of the best things that ever happened to me, even though I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Because I learned so much about myself, and it really forces you to understand your emotions, and you have to confront them head on. So even now today, like I've become I feel like a lot more emotionally aware of how I am on a normal day-to-day basis, and I feel, well, a lot better than I was before. My point was that I thought about maybe becoming some sort of counselor or therapist, because I don't know, I felt like I could help a lot of people doing that as well. So that was kind of like another idea I had, but I don't know if, there you go, that was just something. Anyway, that's a complete digression. But again, I like doing too many things at once, and I needed to focus.
But is it fair to say then that you were feeling like the kind of towards the end of traveling and looking ahead to the future, you were thinking, or you felt there was some pressure, or you felt like, right, I need to kind of knuckle down and settle into something and get into something that's going to be a potential career? And
yeah, there was definitely that pressure. I mean, another part of it, was Lucy had she had like everything kind of sorted out. She had, before, actually it was like when we arrived in New Zealand, she got accepted to do an accounting job. So she was all like set up and I wasn't, basically. So there was definitely some pressure to kind of like, right, okay, I need to sort my life out here a bit. And yeah, but so I don't know, when I got back, actually I think just before I left travel, I actually messaged Julian.
Yeah, you were about to leave. You were working in the cafe. You're about to leave to go traveling.
Oh, so that was before. Yeah, so I messaged you before I went traveling, and that was because so Rosie, Julian's auntie, and the mother of my best friend Casper, one of my best friends. I have many best friends. I don't want to slate anyone else off. But
sorry, Hamish.
I mean, there's a lot of others. Anyway,
Vincenzo.
Oh, Vinny. Anyway, so yeah, because I'd already obviously expressed that I was interested in doing photos, videos and stuff. So she was just going, oh, you should message Julian. He seems to be doing all right. He might be able to give you some advice or whatever. I don't know. Just message him. So I did, and that was when you gave me that initial piece of advice on, you concentrate on the one kind of niche or thing that you're really interested in,
on what you like.
And yeah, and as you say, like when the kind of photography that I really wanted to do, like coming out of traveling, was definitely like outdoor adventure kind of style. But then again, it's like I had all these other things I wanted to do. It's like I still wanted to do like these Facebook ads and marketing side of it, and I didn't know how to put it all together really. But I messaged you after traveling again, but no, just before I came back to England, saying, yeah, I'm coming back in a month or so. What's up, basically? And you're like, oh yeah, why don't you just come in and say hello, and we could do a bit of a work experience sort of thing. And so yeah, so when I got back, I like started working in. Oh, basically, I was about $1,000 in debt just from my overdraft, because like I spent most of it from traveling. Yeah, that's how it goes. So I needed to clear that. Time. I had a good time. And I just needed to clear that. So I just like worked in a coffee shop, smashed that out. And then, yeah, during that time also I came to the office for you guys, had that chat with Guy, and you guys obviously thought that I would be a good fit to come in and help you out with moving forward.
Yeah, it was very fortuitous timing, I think, for us, because we were we were at the point where we were starting to look for someone else to help take over some social media management and things like that. And so you dropped in at just the right time, I think. Yeah.
Popped in and said, "Hi guys."
Your dropshipping stuff fits in well with our social media. At the time was our social media ambitions.
Yeah.
With the social media subscriptions,
Yeah.
and but we also needed someone with a kind of photographic eye, an eye for composition and all
Do a
that.
bit of video editing and
So it was a really
all the
good
rest.
fit.
yeah. Again, I could just kind of like fit in and help you out with whatever jobs you really needed, apart from just focusing on that other part of it. But yeah, I remember the guy was just like, "Oh yeah, would you like this job?" And I was like, "Yes, please." that sounds like completely ideal. But no, my plan at the time, I think, before you guys was probably save up. And I was thinking I wanted to go into some sort of digital marketing job because, I don't know, for me, I guess that kind of, and it was a niche I really wanted to scratch. It's like this whole kind of marketing, Facebook ads, and I don't know, the whole psychology of marketing is like really, really fascinates me. So I was thinking I'd probably go into a job, hopefully where I could go to somewhere where they do Facebook ads and whatever, and learn that really well. Maybe like start trying to like freelance on the side, and kind of just see where that took me after I'd saved up enough money from the cafe and just kind of to go off and do something. But obviously the opportunity that you guys gave me seemed to fit pretty well for my situation. It just felt a bit too good to be true in terms of like everything that I wanted. I could actually put it in and start testing ideas straight away with you guys and go for it.
Well, I feel all warm and fuzzy inside now.
No, but yeah.
Yeah, we're slowly getting there.
Yeah. But that's what's been really fun. Especially, as I said before, like being around like-minded people who actually get what I'm saying, and then actually also because you guys also have something already set up, I can start implementing these ideas basically directly without having to start from nothing, which is quite fun doing it at a bit of a larger scale. But yeah, I guess that brings us to today. How was that?
Today. Fateful
That's
day.
pretty good.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, I guess that's my life then.
Santi's life story.
Hopefully not all of it.
Oh, no.
Still more pages to be written.
Definitely, yeah. Oh,
It's okay, take a break now.
yeah. I feel like I've been talking for like an hour and 20 minutes and just like smashing it out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What do you
there's a
think,
lot of bits there.
Yeah. Should we look at covering any kind of like current topics and then wrap it up? Or what should we?
Whatever you
let's,
feel like. If there's any other questions you feel.
Let's
or-
pick a topic. I think one thing that we spoke about a few times was talking about your journey to where we are now is the impact of social media on people and in the impact of social media on maybe people's happiness and how they experience life,
Yeah.
I guess, or how they experience it,
Yeah. Well,
what's in front of them.
Sure. Do you want to go off on one?
Yeah, let's go off on one.
I don't know. I'm gonna ask Guy. Guy, what do you think about that? Have you ever felt any like social media anxiety from like comparing yourself with other people?
Not major, but I've definitely been there. Probably similar to how you felt with the vlogs and the pressure. I found that if I went on holidays and things and I was trying too hard to go and get those cool shots that I thought everyone else would really like and that I should get,
Yeah.
I just wasn't enjoying it because I wasn't doing it for myself and I was doing it for someone else. Also, personally now, if we travel a lot with work and we do a lot of work kind of all over the place, I find it quite comforting when we go somewhere and we have a brief from a client and our job is to get that done because I feel like I'm not trying to make something for kind of social media in general that is going to try and get 10,000 likes. I'm making something on behalf of a client, and I've got kind of an idea of what their audience wants and likes, and what we can make for them. And it's actually quite nice to be focused in on that niche and on actually doing a job with the content you're making, rather than just being a little bit open-ended and constantly scratching your head over how am I going to get 1 million likes on this photo.
What you're getting to is attaching it to your own ego, essentially.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's kind of the problem. And something like that I've worked out now is like I'm feeling the same thing. It's like when I'm working on a social media page of someone else, it's not on my own ego. I can think about the whole kind of analytics and all that kind of stuff and not mind as much and see it more through that analytical eye without putting that pressure on myself. Is like, oh, this is, depending on how many likes that gets, is that how good I am or anything like that? Yeah.
There's one thing you said, Guy, is that you find it, let's say, reassuring when you go to these places and you have a brief and you have something to work to. It just reminded me of a really good collection of essays on photography in a book called On Photography. It's by Susan Sontag. And in that, it was written long before social media came about, but they said that one of the reasons photography has become so popular is that it kind of helps people overcome some anxieties of travel and in being in a foreign place where they have this kind of template to apply. So you go to a place, you go in front of a building or a monument or a point of interest, you take the photo, you have it, you've documented it, you can then go on to the next place. And that's what I see a lot of people do now. When
was that book talking about? What time in particular was it?
Oh, I think it was, I'm completely off the top of my head, but 70s, 80s.
Okay.
Maybe 80s.
Sure.
And I've seen lots of people do that. I even, sorry, I'm getting stuck with my cable. I even dumped a girl once because we went on holiday together and we were just cycling along.
Yeah.
And every interesting thing we'd see, she'd stop, park the bike, take a photo, get back on the bike, go along. And I was just like, it just kind of disgusted me. Not disgusted, it's a bit strong, but it flipped a switch in me. I'm like, no.
Okay, but I think it depends on what do you think was her intention behind trying to take all those photos then? Was it just for her memories or?
I don't know. I mean,
like what was it that annoyed you particularly about it?
Just that
she couldn't just let it be.
Yeah, or it just seemed like the how systematic it was.
Okay.
It's not like, I guess we have a different relationship to photography because it's our job.
Yeah.
But it's just like going back to what we were earlier. Can you not just experience
the moment?
And it was almost like she was trying to collect these images to put up on social media because that's where they were going, just on Instagram. And it's like,
feels very vacuous.
Yeah.
I certainly more and more, the more work we do abroad or the more shoots we do with any like high profile clients or big stuff, the less I care about trying to fulfill my own ego by going and taking amazing photos of wherever we are. If I'm staying in a place or a city for a few days and we've got a job there and I feel like going out and taking some photos and making some cool stuff, then that's great. I'll go do it. But if I don't feel like it, then I won't stress myself with forcing myself to go out and be like, yeah, I've got to find the best shot in this city today so that I can get it on my Instagram. I don't really feel like that.
For me, it was just seeing how little thought was going into it. And it was just, go along, stop, take a photo and repeat. And it was the same thing over and over again. And, she wasn't even stopping to appreciate
this poor girl. Just getting slated.
Absolutely slated by Julian.
Just savage.
Have you noticed I haven't named her? It was a while ago. But anyway.
There you are.
I mean, that's why I'm saying I think the intention behind it is really important. Because for me, I still take photos for fun a lot. Well, I haven't like recently, but if I was going to go somewhere, I still need to do it. But again, it's not because of social media, because I've already like sorted that part out of myself with traveling. Like I
got it out of your system.
I do it because I don't know. I feel like I need until I like seeing my memories in a very nice way. Like it's really satisfying for me. Like if I come back and say, "Oh look, like those are actually some really cool photos," and it's a memory, like that's capturing. That's really amazing for me.
I think that's the overarching point. I think to all of this is as you said, it's the intention behind it, and as long as you're doing what makes you feel good about it and what makes you happy, and you're not doing it for someone else, then I think, or something else, then I think it's a lot more positive, and it's a lot better for you in the long run to take that approach.
But again, it's like if you want to, I don't think there's anything wrong with going for it in terms of trying to grow social media following or anything like that, if you have that understanding, and
you've just got to be aware that that's going to put you on a slightly different path, and that mentally it's going to feel different. If you're chasing that growth, that's fine, but you're going to be very removed from the reality of your surroundings.
You've got to really understand how to attach yourself to your work, and I guess almost try and see it as like a client shoot, maybe, or I don't know. Like you do that, but then I think it's important also to always to do stuff for yourself if you're going to do that, or just at least have like a different kind of Instagram account where you can post more personal stuff, which is just for you. I think that's a good way to go about it.
Or just do stuff for you and not necessarily have another Instagram account. You can just not post it.
Yeah. I mean, it all depends on your goals and what you want and stuff like that. Julian just really doesn't like that. that whole thing.
Poor girlfriend has just been slated, and Julian's just off on one.
I was not referring to that.
Oh, madness.
We'll put that aside.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
I need more wine.
Julian wants to grab a glass of wine. Go on.
It's good. We've meandered around a little bit. We've spoken about your journey. I think a common theme has been mental health and social media and how those tie together. And I think that's a really interesting pertinent topic at the moment, and is only going to be increasingly more so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely something I've got a lot of experiencing. And it's quite nice, to be honest, in a way, to like have to feel like I've got that kind of sorted out in my own head, especially like comparing it to before. But again, it was only like the discomfort of like being in such a bad place that really forced me to like really sort myself out and why I was feeling these things. Whereas I feel like the majority of people might only have it to a certain extent or a little bit, and it's not uncomfortable enough to actually really go, okay, I need to really think, why is this making me feel this way, and really do something about it, because it's quite a hard thing to do. But yeah, I kind of felt forced, and I don't know, it's just my head. I like figuring things out. That's just the way it works.
Well, I think that was something that showed through when we were having the conversation. Dropshipping came up, and obviously you've mentioned poker as well. And there's, I think, one of those important skills or important interests is to enjoy trying to figure stuff out, and find out how stuff works, and how to crack it. I think that's an important interest, and it's a kind of skill that's very useful across a huge number of things.
Yeah, that's something else I've learned. It's just like I've enjoyed. It's about learning to enjoy that process, and like the end goal doesn't really matter that much at the end of the day. But I think it's good to have a goal that means something to you and it's like good. But getting to the process of that goal is the most important thing.
Those seem like some pretty good words to maybe end on.
Yeah.
Do you
Sure.
think?
I think this is a good place to wrap it up. I think it's been really interesting.
Been an hour and a half, so
Yeah, I'll do it.
all right.
Thank you very much for everyone to listen to my story.
Thank you, Santi, for telling us all about it.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you, Guy, for being here and joining us.
Oh, you are most welcome, Julian.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I guess as I've done this the last couple of times, I'll wrap it up then. Yeah, please subscribe if you actually enjoy this, and also we're going to have a lot more episodes coming out soon. I feel like we're building up a little bit of momentum here, which is quite nice.
And we're going to have some guests on. In fact, I think the next one will be with our very first guest.
Yes.
So that will be Phil Arntz.
Ooh.
Looking forward to
Watch
it.
out.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Give us a review if you fancy it as well. that would help.
Yeah. All right. That's all for now.
See you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Am I losing or winning? Is this reality or am I pretending? That was poetry, huh?